morning. We're going to go back in time and imagine what that might be like. So Jesus gets up on Sunday morning, takes a shower, eats a piece of toast, drinks a cup of coffee, and gets on his donkey and rides to the synagogue. He greets everyone as they enter the Sunday school class. He starts with a prayer, one he wrote. It starts like this: Our Father, who art in heaven. After the prayer is over, he says, okay, everyone turn to Deuteronomy 19. No, Simon, it's in the Old Testament. What's that, Miriam? It's the 5th book: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Now, Hezekiah, would you read verses 15 to 21? Hezekiah reads aloud about the procedure for judging someone who has done something wrong, the need for 2 or 3 witnesses, and the decision of the appointed judges. And he finishes up with these verses: remove such evil from your community. The rest of the people will hear about this and be afraid, and they won't do that sort of evil thing among you again. Show no mercy. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Jesus thanks Hezekiah for reading the passage and then says, you have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but I say to you, do not resist an evildoer, but if anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also. Everyone in the class sort of stares at him and says, huh? Jesus continues, yeah, I know that it says in Deuteronomy what it says there, but I'm telling you that we need to go beyond that legalistic eye for an eye stuff, because if we keep treating each other that way, pretty soon we'll all be blind. Class smiles. Jesus says, you know, I don't know why Moses said, show no mercy. Maybe he was having a bad day. I have to disagree with him. Our God is a God of mercy. And when a person is caught in acting out, doing something destructive or unhealthy, you know, it doesn't accomplish anything if we just punish him. That's not the point. What we should be doing is giving him a second chance. Throw some love his way. Our God is not about punishment. Our God is about mercy. People in the class nod their heads. Ezra raises his hand. But what about that verse that tells us to remove him from our synagogue? That makes sense, doesn't it? And after all, one rotten apple spoils the whole barrel. Jesus looks at Ezra, who's always asking astute questions. Ezra, if our goal is to make the wrongdoer ashamed, that would be a good procedure. But shame doesn't lead to redemption. That just makes a person feel more self-hatred. It doesn't set people free. Let me offer a better way, a more excellent way. Let's say that the woman who committed a sin was our friend, because she messed up, but what we really want to happen is to see her restored to our fellowship. We want her to be our friend again. Friendship is our goal. That's what God wants, for all of us to be friends with each other and with God. So I would say that the person who has been wronged should go directly to the wrongdoer and gently talk with her about being reconciled. Now, if the wrongdoer comes around, then harmony has been restored, and I say, thanks be to God. Now, if she refuses to take responsibility for her actions, then take 2 or 3 witnesses and go back to her and discuss it again. If that doesn't work, then the situation must be told to the proper people in our community of faith so that they can communicate with her and give her another chance. Now, if she still doesn't respond, then we have to get really serious about her spiritual health. Like Moses said, we set her apart, but not as an outcast, rather as a special person of concern. We don't cut her off from our synagogue. We make her a special project for our love. Sarah raises her hand. Yes, Sarah? Perhaps we could approach her like we do the Gentiles and tax collectors. Good point, Sarah. Yes, we should welcome her into God's loving fellowship, just as we do those outsiders like the so-called Gentiles and tax collectors. But Seth says, let's not beat around the bush, Jesus. We don't say Gentiles and tax collectors now, do we? We say pagans and traitors. Jesus says, well, you're absolutely right, Seth. We welcome the pagans and the traitors here in our synagogue, and that's the way we should approach the wrongdoer. She's like the lost sheep. Remember that story I told you last Sunday about the shepherd who left the 99 sheep in order to find the one lost sheep? Well, she is that sheep. We want to bring her back. Jonathan, who never missed a Sunday, spoke up and said, Jesus, you've given me a lot to think about, but aren't we fiddling with what Moses told us to do? I mean, after all, it's right there as plain as day in the Hebrew. You can't change what the scriptures say, can you? Jesus thought this might come up. He'd already thought of an analogy. He said, it's like this. When a message comes up on your screen and tells you that you need to update your app, or maybe you try to use a particular program and a message pops up and says your software is not up to date. Boy, it's like that. The Bible occasionally needs to be updated. Susanna leans over and whispers to Miriam, what's he talking about? Miriam says, I don't know. Jesus looks around at the puzzled faces. Oh yeah, he thinks to himself, they don't know about that yet. But he continues, the program that Moses gave us for dealing with sinners was a good one at the time. But now we've moved on. An updated program, like a revised approach is needed. Not punishment, but mercy. Not shame, but affirmation. Not excommunication, but a welcoming space. Not pointing the finger, but open arms. In fact, we might make that our motto for this lesson. Not one finger, but two arms. Get it? Instead of pointing your index finger and blaming someone, open both arms wide as if welcoming a person into your friendly space. Not one finger, but two arms. Yeah, I like that, says Nathan. Peter speaks up. Jesus, how many times do we have to forgive someone? Jesus says, Peter, that's next Sunday's lesson. Ask me about that next week. Jesus looks around the class. Any questions? Jude speaks up. What if this process for reconciliation doesn't work? Jesus takes a deep breath. Well, Jude, don't forget, we're not doing this all by ourselves. God is our partner during this whole process, and it is a process. So be patient. I imagine the Lord would tell us something like this: where two or three are gathered together in my name, trying to restore a friendship, I will be there with them.